Hi, hi everybody. Thank you for joining me. I feel very privileged to be asked by Butterfly Conservation to give a talk, it's on my photographic journey with butterflies, but it's also my photographic journey with butterfly conservation, really. So there's no particular order for the photographs and the talk. I'm just going to share some experiences, some anecdotes, some tips, things I've learned, and some field crafts. So hopefully there'll be something for everyone. So let's get started. This is a male brimstone in flight, which is an unusual, quite a rare photograph. I was lucky to get it. I don't know whether it was because I had the camera on 10 frames a second, or my camera has a thing called Pro Capture, which means that you can actually get some images before you actually press the shutter. But it doesn't really matter how I got it. I'm just lucky to have the photograph. As Simon said, I've got a transect, and I look forward to the first week in April when I can start walking. And last April, the first thing I saw on the transect was a beautiful brimstone flying along. The yellow was amazing. I was told by somebody, and I read it somewhere, that that's where the word butterfly comes from, but don't quote me on that. I live near Bookham Common. I live in Great Bookham, near Bookham Common, and it's mentioned in butterfly books for being a hotspot for the purple emperor. And if you go down there in sort of late June, early July, there are lots of people with cameras with large lenses and binoculars, all walking around trying to find the purple emperor. Excuse me, have you seen the purple emperor? No, I haven't. Have you seen the purple emperor? No, I haven't. No, I'm sorry. And one day in June, I was on Denby's hillside photographing butterflies, and my mate Graham phoned me up, and he said, quick, Gary, get to Mark Oak car park. He said, my daughter's just phoned me up, and she said, one of those butterflies you're always talking about is on my leg. So I rushed over to Mark Oak car park, and there it was, but it actually sort of moved from her leg to her backpack. And wow, you know, it's like the Holy Grail, really, the purple emperor. So we were chuffed to bits, and it hung around, really, which is, you know, sometimes they just fly off, don't they? So this is in Mark Oak, where near Mark Oak car park, and it flew down onto the floor. Luckily, not on any sort of thing it's interested in collecting minerals from. Although the Holy Grail, or the shot, really is to have the purple, the whole butterfly with the purple colour on. But this is 3/4 of purple, so it's not too bad. So I was quite pleased with that. And then it flew up into the tree, and it was a bit dark, but luckily I remembered that I had a pop-up flash on the camera, so I was able to use the pop-up flash and get this shot. So I was well chuffed with that. There are master trees on Bookham Common, and I believe I'm not an authority on it, but I believe the master trees are around the £100 bridge, which is near Downside. And of course, the Purple Emperor now is very prevalent at Knepp, so it's another place to go and see them. As Simon said, I've got a transect. It's Headley Warren private. It's a private nature reserve. It's a triple SI site at the bottom of Box Hill, and there's on the site there are actually 34 species out of the 44 that are seen in Surrey. So in actual fact, I think we're second only to Hutchinson's Bank in the number of species we see. This is a green hair streak. I like to photograph them in their habitat, and also to give you an idea of the size of the butterfly. This one only sort of, you're aware that this one only settles with its wings closed. So one of my projects this year would be to get one with its wings open. So, but we've got a sort of a hotspot for green hair streak on the site. So I look forward to the end of April each year, and we get quite a few there. So a group of us get in the car and we drive to Salisbury. We have to decide on a day, suitable day when the weather's suitable, and we drive down there and drive back on the same day, just a day trip. So we go to Cotley Hill, park near the roundabout, walk up to the ridge and the bank, the slope where these are right in the corner, and there they are. And this is just on a blade of grass, so it's amazing, really. This is another one with its wings open. I'm not sure that this gives you an idea of its size, but that's an actual photograph. I haven't messed about with it at all, so it must be true, but it seems very small. But I thought I'd put that in to give you an idea of the size of it. Beautiful marsh fritillary. And on the way back to, because I was behind the others, they were heading back. We'd finished photographing the marsh fritillaries, and we're heading back to the car, and I was behind the others, and quite a way behind. And as we were walking along on the path, I came across the pair of orange tips. So I was a bit selfish. I took my photographs first and then called them back to take the photographs. But you know, extra pairs of eyes are a benefit. And yeah, we were lucky to get that. Beginning, well, April, you start seeing quite a few butterflies around, and then there's the orange tip. One of our favourite places is Norbury Park, which is at the bottom of Young Street and near the Mickland Bends, it's a favourite place of ours to photograph the orange tips. Another trip is to photograph the Heath Fritillary in Blean Woods. This particular, it was our first time, well, my first time to go on the trip, and we planned to go in separate cars. And unfortunately, the guys in the other car who had all the knowledge at the last minute couldn't make it. So we decided to go anyway and see if we could find them. We got to the car park and we phoned the others and said, right, we're at the car park, can you tell us where the Heath Fritillary are? So they said, yeah, go through the gate, up the path, round the bend, and they're on the right. And so we walked along, and we weren't very confident, but as we got to the spot that they suggested, there they were, much to our delight. So this is the heath with its wings closed on a blade of grass. So this year was, everybody, I'm sure a lot of you will know that this year was a really good year for hummingbird hawk moth. And to be honest, I'd never seen one, and I'd seen pictures of them, but I'd never seen one in real life. And I was out in the garden and I saw this thing buzzing around the buddleia and wondered what it was. And they're quite tiny really, but they're buzzing around all over the place. So I rushed indoors to get my camera, as you do, and I came back out and obviously it had gone, which is a similar sort of story in a lot of occasions. So I phoned Richard, my mate Richard Stevens, and he said, well, it's quite possible it'll come back tomorrow and the same around the same time. So I thought, well, okay, I'll believe you, but we'll see. So sure enough, I set up the camera and was out in the garden the next day, and luckily it was similar sort of weather. I set up the camera to continual autofocus with tracking, and I zoomed onto the whole of the buddleia, because it zooms around, it goes from one flower to the other, you couldn't follow it. So I did the continuous autofocus tracking, and I couldn't believe the results I got. It was just unbelievable. Obviously this is a crop, but to actually see his eye like that, his or her eye like that, is just, I was just blown away really. What a beautiful thing. So I got lots and lots of shots, and I'm in the local camera club, membership secretary of the local camera club, and we have competitions every month where we put in images to be judged. And it's interesting with birds in flight. One judge will say, oh, that's okay, but it's all sort of sharp. It looks as though it's just hanging there. It doesn't look as though it's sort of in flight. I'd prefer the wings to be a bit blurred. So if you have the wings a bit blurred, the judge will say, well, that's okay, but the wings are a bit blurred. I prefer them to be sharp. So it's a bit of a luck of the draw, really, with the judges. But I think this one is better for the hummingbird hawk moth because it makes you realize why they call them a hummingbird hawk moth, because it's humming and hovering and looks more like a hummingbird. So on the transect, I think it's useful to have an extra pair of eyes, and we're walking along, and you know, you're counting the butterflies that are flying, and then you look around, and there are a pair on the nettles there. And I've been doing transect for about 6 years now, and this year was the first time that I'd ever seen a pair of green vein white like that, so I was quite chuffed with that. In my photography, I try and get everything in focus. It's not easy because of the narrow depth of field. So yeah, it's quite difficult. I put this one in because I quite like the shot, but from a camera club point of view, it's too busy. The composition isn't very good. There's lots of clutter. But I wanted to use it, so I cleaned the leaf up a bit, and I rotated it and cropped it and brought it in and ended up with this one. So it's the same image, but rotated, cropped, and cleaned up. And when I put that into the camera club competition, I was given 10 out of 10 for that, so I was well chuffed. I go on the butterfly conservation walks, and we went to Horton Country Park this year, and we weren't lucky enough to see a black hair streak, but towards the end of the walk, some of the guys suggested that we went to Epsom Common, because they're known to be on Epsom Common. They've only just been discovered in the last couple of years, so I didn't have a picture of one, and so we went over to Epsom Common, and I wouldn't know where to look. I wouldn't know where the location was on Epsom Common, and the specific area. But luckily, the guys I went with, they knew exactly the area where they were, and when we got there, there were some other photographers, enthusiasts, taking photographs. So we were lucky, and this is almost fresh out of the box, I think. So getting towards the end of the transect season, some seasons finish early and some finish late. This particular season, it had finished quite early. There was nothing about. And Richard sort of suggested, well, why don't we we've seen where the brown hair streak are. Why don't we? And we know they come out sort of in the afternoon, about 2 o'clock in the sunshine. Why don't we take a trip down to Headley Warren and see if we can see them? So we drove down to Headley and walked round to where we thought they would be, and there they were. There were a couple of them, and we were able to get some nice shots. So this is an unusual shot with the wings open, female. Well chuffed with that. We knew where they were because we'd seen the hair streak eggs, and they were sort of located where we saw the brown hair streak, so we knew where they were going to be there. And I actually managed to get a photograph of one of the eggs with the vacated. So it's quite an interesting shot. You can see right inside. Another trip was to Rowland Wood for the pearl bordered fritillary. I went with a couple of the guys, and it wasn't really that special a day. The weather wasn't that particularly good. The sun was shining, but it was a bit windy, and you know, they weren't sort of flying. So, but Ken managed to find one in a secluded area out of the wind, and if he hadn't been there and spotted that pearl bordered, we wouldn't have got many shots. So it's fieldcraft and knowing where, what, and having extra pairs of eyes, really. So really pleased with that. And we managed to get the female as well. It's sort of like it's interesting, sort of camouflage type image. Another trip is to see the large blue in the West Country, and this year we went to Daneway Banks, and when we got there, the guy I was with was we were walking up and we saw this group, obviously looking at the large blue. There was a group, about 4 of them, and they looked as though they were taking images. So, you know, when you see that, you think, well, we better get up there. And the person I was with said, I'll catch you up in a minute, and disappeared into the bushes. And so I sort of hurried up there, and they were photographing this pair of large blues, and I was able to get quite a few shots. As my mate turned up and caught us up, just as he was about to join us, the large blues flew off, and he wasn't able to get a shot. And it was the only opportunity that day for us to get any photographs of the large blue. And I felt so guilty because it was a long drive and he was the driver. So I was, yeah, I was a bit embarrassed by that, but I was lucky to get the shot. The other site we went to in the previous years, Collard Hill, and this is another sort of opportunity where we didn't actually know where the butterflies were, and we arrived at the youth hostel car park, which is quite a walk from the actual hill. And luckily we met a couple who just arrived, and we said to them, "Are you here to photograph the large blue?" And they said, yeah. I said, do you know where they're located? And they said, yeah, we've been here before, we showed you. So we walked along with them. It's about sort of a half a mile to the actual site, and so we were lucky we met them in the car park. This is I believe this is a male with its wings open. There were quite a few flying, and we were very lucky that day. It was a nice day. But when you're planning a visit to see the large blue, it could be the flying period could be early or late, and you have to make sure it's the right day, and you could be it could be sunny up here, and then when you get down there it's not suitable. So yeah, it's a bit hit and miss, but we were very lucky. The benefit of an extra pair of eyes. Martin Wills, he helped me on this particular day on the transect, and we were walking along, and he came across this clouded yellow Elise female, and I'd not come across. I wasn't aware of an Elise. I knew it looked different, but I wasn't aware of it. And it's a beautiful butterfly. Managed to get this shot. This is the clouded yellow female, the ordinary clouded yellow female, not the Elise. So I thought I'd put that shot in just to show you. That's an unusual shot as well, to have the wings open, because they settle with the wings closed. So that's an unusual shot as well. And then I said about Pro Capture, this feature I've got on my camera. You press the button and it records a few images prior to pressing the shutter, and you can get this sort of shot, because obviously they were sort of stationary and then they decided to fly off. But this is the female is the lower one, with the in sort of black and white, as opposed to the yellow, and the upper one is the male. So that's nice, unusual shot. Unusual to have the wings open. Another, people who are sort of familiar with the area, there's an area, Four Winds Pond Meadow, North Holmwood. It's a quite a secluded area. It's a small meadow, and the butterflies seem to be sort of contained within the area. So I like going there to photograph them. They don't fly off, and we were lucky this particular day that this was quite a long shot with a long lens, and we actually sort of saw it shimmering, if you like, in the sunshine, and it's unusual to get a shot like this of the purple hair streak with its wings open. So, you know, we were chuffed to bits to get this shot. I I do. We also go to the tunnel car park in Bookham Common, and I've noticed that the purple hair streak come down in the afternoon on the Blackberry, um, and it's sort of 3 o'clock, half three in the afternoon. The sun's on the Blackberry, and there's mums who walk their dogs have gone to pick the kids up, so it's quite quiet, and there's nobody else around, and you see the purple hair streak come down. One particular day I was waiting for the purple hair streak to come down, and I heard a rustling and turned round slowly. I had the camera on a tripod, and turned round slowly, and there was this weasel looking at me, and I thought, oh my gosh. And luckily I had the camera on sort of 10 frames a second, and it was only there for a couple of seconds. So I managed to get about 30 shots, and this is one of the better ones. It is a crop, but you know, what a lovely experience, really. So I thought I'd put that one in. So, you know, you're out there photographing butterflies, but you can look out for other things as well, can't you? Now, we actually, this is Richard's birthday, because we go to Kithurst Hill nearly every year near Storrington, and for the Duke of Burgundy. And I was quite pleased with this shot, really pleased. And I thought I would enter it into the Camera Club exhibition, Camera Club competition. But I noticed the rear wing was damaged, just as I was going to put it into the competition. So I had a go at repairing it in Photoshop. And you can see I've repaired it. But then a bit later on, I noticed that it was slightly different to the other wing. The other wing has got a sort of a double, and this one I'd repaired it with a single, so I changed it to a double. So, and put it in the competition. That's what a real one looks like. The small blue was also there at Kithurst, and it's I believe it's the smallest butterfly in the UK, and you know, I like to get a shot like this to give you an idea of the size compared with the leaf, and this was pristine condition, beautiful male. Also, it's another unusual shot is the holly blue female with its wings open, and this is Marcote Car Park, and instead of turning left to go into the general area, if you turn right, there's quite a few banks of holly, and I was able to get this shot. I also got the holly blue while on Ashton Common, looking for the purple emperor, so I was quite pleased with that one as well. On the way back from doing the transect one day with Chris, who helped me do the transect, we were sort of packing the stuff away in the car, and we noticed this on the driver's side window, and I thought, golly. So opened the passenger door, stuck the camera in, and managed to get this shot before it flew away. I had to hasten to say that it took a lot of cleaning up of the window. The window wasn't as clean as that, but it was, yeah, and I'm assured by Paul Wheeler that it's the gypsy moth. Take this opportunity of thanking Chris for helping me with the transects. Also, another tip is to look behind you, because we're, once again, we're going back to the car. The car's parked in the lower field, putting the stuff away, and I looked over the bonnet, and there were a pair of chalk hills in the sunshine. Also, on the way back to the car, we managed to spot a white letter hair streak. A sole white letter hair streak. There's very few on Headley and Headley Warren, and yeah, it was there a couple of days. Coming back from Kithurst, we quite often drop into Mill Hill near Shoreham, which is very similar geology and terrain to Denby's hillside. So there's it's a hot spot for Adonis blue, and a great opportunity to get Adonis and other butterflies. I've also, with my mate Graham, we go up to Norfolk quite often to photograph the hares, and we took the opportunity to visit Strumshaw Fen for the swallowtail. The actual day we went there, we bumped into Ken and Gillian Elsom from Surrey. So yeah, it's beautiful butterfly, a wonderful day. They were lots flying. It's quite a scene, and a privilege to see them. This is taken in the Doctor's Garden. The Doctor's Garden's quite famous up there. I'm not so sure that you're allowed to actually go in the Doctor's Garden anymore, but yeah, it's quite an opportunity. Four Winds Pond again, Four Winds Meadow. There are a lot of white admiral on Bookham Common, but as I said before, this area is quite secluded, and they're not flying around on Bookham Common. They're flying around all over the place. It's difficult to find one that's settled. The Chalk Hill Blue on Denby's hillside. That's a very popular area, and lots of butterflies flying there. This is the female, and I had an extra pair of hands because Graham laid down on the ground and held the stem while I took the picture, and we agreed that after I'd taken my picture, I would lay down and hold the stem. But as he got up, it flew away. So he wasn't able to get the shot, unfortunately. I want to thank Graham, take the opportunity to thank Graham for introducing me to wildlife photography and helping me with the transect. And he actually sort of helped introduce me to butterflies as well. So. Organised walks again. This was a practice run with Richard, who was leading the walk, and we came across the dark green fritillary pear and the melanistic female, and managed to get a shot of the melanistic female. And the pair. So that we were privileged that day. In July, I had a heart attack and a triple bypass operation, and Richard offered to take over the transect for me for the rest of the season. Not only did he take over the Transact and travelling from Blimey Heath, he actually used to come and pick me up and take me to the Transact, and I would sit by the car while he did the count. So it's just a thank you, a shout for Richard. Thank you, Richard. I can't thank you enough. Just a few images of camouflage. Came across this brimstone camouflaged on Box Hill. Amazing. I just happened to spot it, and I wish I'd taken a photograph a bit further away, but yeah, it was just settled there. Another one, camouflage comma in Bushy Park. Another dingy skipper. And a few survivors. I can't believe that I see these on the Transact and see them still flying. I just find it amazing. They're unbelievable. So that's comma. Another one is the Gatekeeper. Unbelievable, it's still flying. Silver Wash Fritillary. And this is an image of a fresh one compared with one that's seen better days. And I'm quite pleased with that one because you know, to see the silver wash of the underwing is an unusual shot. Another example of on the way back to the car, knotgrass caterpillar. Quite pleased with that, and just shows you to keep your eye out. In September, late September, I go to Wisley because there's still butterflies still flying about at Wisley on the flowers there. A lot of the people visiting Wisley are looking at the flowers and they're not noticing the butterflies, but yeah, there's quite a few that time of year. And I'd just like to take this opportunity of thanking Butterfly Conservation for 6 wonderful years. It's been amazing for me, and I want to thank Simon Saville, Bill Downey, Francis Kelly, Ken Owen, Richard Stevens, Paul Weller, Ryan Davies, Neil Holm, Matthew Oates, Martin Wills, Graham Ray, Chris Evans, Martin Halley, Jerry Middleton Stewart, and significant others. You know who you are. So I'd like to hand back to Simon.